Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you are, remember you have greatness inside of you. Welcome back to another Habs Daily News with the hockey coach Guru called Frenchy. Today, episode number 359. What your menu, coach? First of all, the Habs best contract for upcoming season. And finally, yes, we have another Habs rumor. But before we start, we invite you, please don't forget to click on the like, subscribe to the Hockey Nation Show, and leave us a comment about this episode. And let's dive in talking about my first subject of the day. First subject of the day, guys, about the Habs best contract for upcoming season. And my number 5 is the captain, Nick Suzuki. Suzuki signed a contract as 8 years last year at $7.875. And during the season 2022-2023, played all the game, 82 game, 26 goals, 40 assists, and for a total of 66 points. I really believe Suzuki is right now and the next 2 years to going to have a season of 80 points with the Montreal Canadiens. You can see the development he's getting year after year. And for me, the most important thing is his leadership he brings on the table for the Montreal Canadiens. And you have him for the next 7 years below at $8 million. I think this is a great contract for the upcoming season for the Montreal Canadiens. My number 4, guys, is, of course, RHP. Yes, we know him. Last year, he called a call up during the second half of the season. Played 34 games with the Montreal Canadiens, 14 goals, 6 assists for a total of 20 points. What I really like for RHP, guys, not only is just signed a contract of $1.1 million for the next 2 years, but what I love from him, guys, he can play any role you ask him to do, and he's going to do it. He can play on the first line, second line, third line, fourth line, PK, power play. This is the kind of player you love to have inside of your team. And that's, for me, the reason I consider him my number 4 for the best contract for upcoming season. My number 3, guys, is Samuel Montembeault. I can tell you one thing, guys. I did not really believe on Montembeault. So sometimes when I'm right, I will tell you. When I'm wrong, I'm telling you. And honestly, Montembeault is really surprised me last season. Forget about his stat. He have only a save percentage of .901 and a goal against average, I believe, at 3.43. But what is the most important thing for me is Montembeault become the goaltender number 1 over Jake Allen during the second half of the season, at the point where Martin St. Louis had to give him the net most of the time when Allen was back from his injury. We'll see what Montembeault is going to do for upcoming season, but at $1 million for 1 more year with the Montreal Canadiens, we have to consider him as the best contract. We expect him to become the goaltender number 1 for the season. I'm looking for consistency for him, and hopefully he can drop his number for his stat and have a better year with the Montreal Canadiens. My number 2, guys, I have to go with Sean Monahan. Yes, he played only 25 games with the Montreal Canadiens. He has only 17 points. But for me, when you get his contract last year at 6.2 and you drop now at $1.985 million for 1 year, what he brings on the ice and off ice is leadership, his experience, and he can play on the top line, on the winger side. He can play as a center. His face-off percentage is the best for the Montreal Canadiens last year. Plus, he can play on the special team, power play, PK. To have him for 1 year, guys, below at $2 million, this is a great signature for the Montreal Canadiens. Plus, you can trade him at the trade deadline, get something in return, very high value if he's performing at the way we expect with the Montreal Canadiens for the upcoming season. And finally, guys, my best contract for the Montreal Canadiens for upcoming season, I have to go with Mike Madison. I was not sure between Madison and Monahan, but Madison, guys, played only 48 games with the Montreal Canadiens, but 8 goals, 26 assists, 34 points, below $5 million. He became the best defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens, and we expect the same way for him with the Montreal next season. He was really great as a quarterback last year on the power play number 1. He carried the puck, guys, like anybody can do right now for the Montreal Canadiens. He have an amazing, great leadership inside of him for his teammate. He became the general defenseman for the Montreal last year, and I think that's what I expect him for the upcoming season. You have him for 3 more years below at $5 million. If he can continue to play at the same level he did last year with the Montreal, is a guy can have possible 50 to 70 points with the Montreal and possible 10 to 15 goals below $5 million, guys. This is a great contract for the Montreal. And they are, guys, my 5 players, the best contract for the upcoming season with the Montreal Canadiens. Le capitaine Suzuki, followed by RHP. We have Samuel Montembeault and finally Sean Monahan and, of course, Mike Madison. I would like to hear from you guys. Leave me a comments about what you think of my 5 best contract for upcoming season for the Montreal Canadiens. Maybe you have someone specific you would like to mention to me. Leave me a comments below this video. And that's conclude, guys, my first subject of the day. My second subject of the day, guys, is about the Montreal Canadiens rumor. First of all, guys, we want to be sure this is only for entertainment. It's about a conversation between you and me for if you would like to do those kind of deal or not. And today, guys, I want to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. First of all, yesterday, guys, they signed the goaltender Samsonov for a $3.55 million. That make the team over of $12.3 million salary cap. Unbelievable, guy. I don't know what they're going to do. Thinking about what Montreal can take advantage for the difficulties the Toronto has right now with the salary cap. And what I did, guys, I'm talking about the goaltender Matt Murray. Matt Murray have one more year with the Toronto Maple Leafs at $4.6 million for the upcoming season. We know last year it was long time on the LTIR with them, with the Toronto Maple Leafs. We know at some point Montreal could make some kind of trade for Matt Murray. What are you talking about? But first of all, guys, I believe Montreal Canadiens could get Murray with a first-round pick 2024. In return, Montreal Canadiens send an amazing great player called the future consideration. That's it, that's all. So Montreal get the contract of Murray plus the first round pick 2024 from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they send nothing to the Leafs. Now, what is the advantage for the Montreal Canadiens? But first of all, they get a first round pick, right? What they can do with Matt Murray after that? They can buy him out. What happening with the buyout? But first of all, they will pay him only $600,000 for the upcoming season, and they have to pay him $2 million for the following year. But that's a lot of money, coach. First of all, the salary cap is going to increase in 2024. Plus, Montreal Canadiens are going to have at least a minimum of $18 to $25 million to spend for the upcoming season. So I think to take advantage of the difficulty of the Toronto Maple Leafs with the salary cap, Montreal could get another first-round pick for the upcoming season. That would give them 3 first-round picks in 2024. And I think that could be a great trade overall for the Montreal Canadiens. So I would like to hear from you guys. What do you think about my proposal between the trade between the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs? Do you think the Montreal should or should not make the trade with the Leafs? That's conclude, guys, all the subject we have on this episode. Here we go, episode 359. It's all about the best 5 contract for the upcoming season with the Montreal Canadiens. And finally, we have another rumor. Today, it was about the Toronto and the Montreal Canadiens. But before we leave, guys, we invite you, please don't forget to click on the likes, subscribe to the Hockey Nation Live Show, and leave us a comment about this episode. And of course, we want to remind you, you have greatness inside of you, and we wish you an amazing, great, blessing day, everybody.